Okay, I do believe I am live at this point. Um, so I do believe I'm live at this point. So I'm definitely having some technical errors because I can't use my live stream. So I'm sorry, you guys. Happy Saturday. Boy, what a week. I wanted to go through the transits today. I'm going to hit a little bit on Jupiter and Mars because they're going to be creating a little bit of a different energy for us, especially with Mars really starting to get closer to going into Capricorn. And then also Mars is really getting ready to station and go direct in the sign of Pisces. And this is really, I think, going to cause a disruption. People are going to get angry. They're so I just think that society or globally, there's going to be a little bit of anger, some angst, things are not going their way. People are going to get pissed. Sometimes they get really violent because you know that so many people do get violent. And I'm kind of still kind of setting up here. I apologize. Um, so we just want to be careful with these energies and to remember as these planets are transiting to really utilize this energy, even if it's a really tough energy, to create the changes in you that need to be made. Be self-aware. What is it triggering for you specifically? And I think that's the most important thing. So, okay, I'm going to pull up a chart here. Now, I usually go and I usually start with Saturn and just kind of go from the outer to the inner planets, the ones that are closest to us. So we still have Saturn, of course, in the same nakshatra, and it hasn't really moved a lot. It's the slowest moving planet. And again, though, what it really does provide us, you guys, is still it's giving us again that opportunity to really plant some seeds that we want to grow long term. So you haven't lost to this energy yet. So that's one of the things that really can help us with Saturn, that he is really slow moving, but it gives us really the opportunity to utilize that energy to create something new and plant new seeds at this particular time that we can actually nurture and have long-term growth. And it's not about going to McDonald's and getting a Big Mac meal, you guys. When Saturn's working, he likes to slow roast, things that take time, things that take nurturing. Um, it's not by accident that Saturn rules the nakshatra or is associated with the nakshatra Pushya. Okay, so just remember that because Pushya really is our children. So it's like after we give birth, what do we do? For a long time, for at least 18 years, maybe longer, we're nurturing our children, right? Selflessly. We don't expect anything in return. So that's the kind of energy that we really can use right now with Saturn being in Capricorn and at this particular degree. Now I wanted to hit a little bit here on Jupiter. Jupiter is, of course, now less than a degree away, I believe, from Pluto. And this is going to be significant, especially with these outer planets. When they're conjunct an inner planet, it's significant, you guys. We can't ignore that. And we're going to feel the effects. This is a generational change, okay? And remember, the new moon was on Uranus in Aries in the nakshatra of Bharani, okay? So we're looking at, and this is also that nakshatra is associated with Venus. I should get my microphone up here. But with that being said, though, Venus also has things to do with our values, women's movement, women's empowerment. It also has to do with money. It rules over Taurus. So I think that we're going to see globally a world change in how our money is being dealt with. or how we're dealing with the money. Maybe the structure is going to be changed. Also, we're going to see definitely a change in leadership. And I have to say, I think there's going to be a big change in leadership as far as females go. I think there's going to be some type of female energy, you guys, that's going to come up. I'm not going to make a direct prediction. That's not what I do. But there's that energy, there's that female energy that's going to come and disrupt what we know in society. So there's that energy there. Also, with Pluto and Jupiter coming in, and they're going to be coming into conjunction with Saturn. This is significant because where Saturn is at right now, and trying to plant those new seeds, but at the same time, Pluto with Jupiter is coming in and it's disrupting the soil. It's disrupting this, it's breaking apart the cement for those new seeds. But what happens is a lot of corruption is going to come out because Pluto's Hades, you guys. So you want to talk about lies and secrets and things that are not good. This is about the government or people wanting power, right? And with it coming into conjunction, especially after the new moon, I mean full moon being in the sign of Aries, right? The people are going to be empowered. The people are going to want that power, and the government is going to try to empower over them or dominate over them. So I really think it's going to cause some anger and disruptions. Okay. Now let's moving on. I want to cover Mars a little bit, and I need to animate my wheel here. I think it's the 14th, November 14th is when Mars decides, yes, okay, is when Mars goes station and goes direct. And remember, Mars is in the sign of Pisces. Now, with that being said, this, Pisces does have to do a lot with our inner emotions, not like a Scorpio. It's more of a generational type of emotion. It's about being higher minded. It is about what is good for the people, not so much an individual thing. Even though that will play out in the coming days, but Mars can get really, really angry in Pisces because it has a hard time defining boundaries and really hard deciphering, between that right and wrong action, if you will, because it kind of blurs a little bit of the lines. And also with Jupiter, who's the ruler of Pisces, going in and conjuncting with Pluto, it's going to bring out a lot of anger over things that were done incorrectly, injustices that were done in the government, in our justice system. So it's not going to be an easy time, you guys. I really think it's around November 14th where the energies are going to be really set up to trigger people and get people angry because they're going to feel like the government is trying to dominate over them, and people are going to want to have their self-empowerment back. So it's going to cause a lot of riots. I know, maybe a war. I don't know. I don't want to predict that, but I know there's going to be a lot of anger. So just be in that self-awareness. Concentrate on what you're doing. Concentrate on your triggers and how you're working with your triggers in a healthy and productive way for your life. That's really what needs to happen at this time. This is the way that we really should be using this energy. Now, also, I wanted to, so that was Jupiter. Yeah, boy, this is going to be interesting how this is going to play out, you guys. Now we have Sun still in the sign of Libra, which also adds to this whole flavor of stuff. And what I mean by, so we're covering like the new moon being in Aries in Bharani, to be specific, which is again Venus associated nakshatra. You have to understand now the sun is in a Venus ruled house, Libra, balancing the scales, right? So you know that there's got to be some theme, especially with all the corruption still coming up, with all the lies are still going to be exposed, and people are going to get angry. It's going to be obviously angry in regards to self empowerment and drawing boundaries, what's healthy, what's not, with the government. So I really think this energy, because it's more than just one single planet when we're looking at the whole chart. It's all about the whole chart. You're reading the whole chart together. How are all the energies playing out in your life? It's just like your own personal chart. It's not just about one planet, it's about all the planets. So the sun is really giving off that theme of, especially being in the nakshatra that it's at in Libra. This is the Vishaka nakshatra, and this is really about taking the higher road. It's a fork in the road. You can't sit on the fence. You have to make a decision, right? Is it going to be a good decision? If it's going to be, or is it going to be a wrong decision? But you have to make a decision. You have to know your purpose. You have to know who you are, where you're going, and make that decision. And as a collective in the society now, especially now, it looks like Biden has won the elections. But I know there's so many astrologers out there saying, yeah, but something really big is going to happen before inauguration. I'm not going to ignore that. This could be, there's been too many predictions that a major change is going to happen before inauguration or on inauguration day. And so it looks like some really hard choices are going to have to be made, and some changes are going to be made. And the question is it going to be, which road is going to be taken? I don't know. I'm not, as I said, I don't do predictions. Now, also around the 14th, we got Moon still being in Swati. We got Mercury sitting also so close to the Moon. So we're talking about, again, more information, some more talking, some more communication that's going to be coming out in regards to the government and the corruption. It's all there. The communications are happening, right? And we also have Venus that's really, really close. She's going to be back at 27 degrees. Um, and she's on the Virgo side, but she's in Chitra. And so again, this is all about architect work. Chitra is about really like diamonds, if you will. It's about shaping and really going in and perfecting something, and building something that's long lasting, that's beautiful, and but is really is going to be dealing with change in our society and change in our structure, our infrastructure, and what we're doing. So I think that Venus is really going to play the role right now as an architect. And I think that it's going with these big changes that are coming up, and happening in the government. I really think that the whole infrastructure is going to be changing, and it just gives that energy again to Saturn. Saturn being in Capricorn, and Jupiter and Pluto is coming in to join them. So this is all about breaking loose the old, outdated ways of doing things. It's not working anymore. There's going to be some type of, angry explosion around all of these events, and Venus is going to lend that energy, though, of, yeah, okay, so this is all being broken up. So now we need to go back to the blueprints and let's redo, how things are done, because our society has changed. Our collective thoughts have changed. They just are. And I know I haven't yet done which I told you guys I would do a show on how we're coming out of a Mars generation, and this has to do with tropical astrology, that we're coming out of a Mars ruled type of dimension, where it's all about war and anger and fighting and right action and wrong action, and it's going to be about a 5-year transition into a Venus transition. And I'm, really kind of excited about doing that because I would like to share at least my own thoughts. And I think I'll have other astrologers come online with me also in regards to how does that look for the society as a whole. Now, with that being said, again, let's look at what we can do in our personal life. I mean, we can't, what's going out on the collective, what's going out in society is beyond our control. And this is really what happens when people get very angry. A couple things actually happen. One, they try to control things that are not in their control. They're focusing on things that they have no control over, you guys. That's just the reality of it. And when you're focusing on things that you can't control, I can imagine it gets really, really frustrating. What are you going about it, right? Not a whole lot. Now, with that being said, though, if we turn the energy inward and really be the architect of our own life, so how are the things disrupting our own life? There's where we have control. So maybe we're going to make some changes in our personal life with this energy. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel really good, but this is really a really good time, especially if you're triggered, to ask yourself, are you living within your values? Are you with your actions? What are you doing that's living with your values? Are you living somebody else's values? Or are you living your values? This is the time to change and start tweaking your own life and what you're doing. And I'm talking about personal relationships as well as career. Are you working somewhere that's aligned with your values or not? Is your job aligned with your values or not? And that's another really hot triggering part to make somebody angry. When somebody gets angry, especially at themselves, it's usually because they're living in not a very congruent way with their own personal values. So again, we really want to turn inward and look to see what's going on in our own life. It's called self-awareness. And you'd be amazed when we live in that circle of self-awareness that we can really be able to change our life and create our own future, if you will. So let me see what else. I wanted to cover Rahu and Ketu a little bit in this transit Saturday transit video. So Rahu and Ketu, you guys, are still in a really, really, really good spot. And they're really in a place where, like Rahu being in the sign of Taurus, why is that such a good spot there? One, Taurus is a very earthy, grounded, fixed, nurturing sign, right? Also, of course, Taurus likes quality and beautiful things and money. And also, they can really come up with great solutions for medicines, again, healing, right, from the earth. So now, as now that Rahu is in there, Rahu is going to act like Venus. Okay, so the nodes act like the planets that rule that sign when they're in there. So we've got Rahu being a little bit more stable, right? Being a little bit more focused, if you will, and fixed. So it's a really good nurturing place that could bring a ton of healing, as it's transiting. And it'll transit, I think, for the next year and a half, but it'll be transiting this sign for a while. So we can really use it as a benefit collectively, but also in our own life to look at what we want to use this energy for healing and our desires, and to go after those desires in this lifetime. But now also remember there's a yin and there's a yang. So as good as it is for healing and medicines and maybe creating a lot more wealth, creating money, depending on where it falls in your chart,
You also have to remember, you guys, that the opposite side of that is becoming obsessed. So obsessed with wealth, obsessed with beauty, maybe obsessed, or maybe, instead of a medicine, a poison comes out. So just kind of remember that yin and yang. So again, living in your self-awareness to make sure that you're not going to get too obsessed, bring yourself back and balance it out. But it's a really, really good sign, though, for Rahu. K2 now being in the sign of Scorpio, Jayasa. And this is really going to give us, again, a chance to let go of control of events, people, and things that we don't have control over. We control ourselves. K2 restricts, Rahu expands. So let's use this energy, right, of K2 being in that sign of Scorpio, especially Jayasa, which is known about, it is the sign of, being the elder one, but having a lot more responsibility at that. Also, it's also known and has a theme for jealousy. So, but what we can use this energy for is that really correcting our own emotions. What is a right emotion for us and what is an incorrect emotion? Because again, remember, Scorpio is ruled by the sign or the planet Mars. And so Mars is really, you guys, is a tamastic planet. It is about right and wrong action. This is right, this is wrong. This is right, this is wrong. Mars gets angry when we don't live in a congruent way with our values, right? Mars wants to fight for our life. He's our survival mode planet, also. Fight, flight. So that's, the beauty about Mars. But again, if we use it incorrectly and not in line with our own values, it can really cause a lot of inner insecurity, inner pain. We're warring with ourself, and it can cause a lot of emotional issues. So, with K2 being in the sign of Scorpio, being in the nakshatra of Jayasa, we're talking, you guys, really about looking at what we're trying to to um, to control, and maybe letting go of some of this responsibility because maybe it was never yours in the first place, right? If you have any jealousies, this is a great time to let it go. Let all of that go. What a great inner healing this can really happen for you personally. Because remember, as I was saying, K2 is more constrictive. It's not It's not expanding like K2. I mean, like Rahu is. So this is a time if it's getting smaller, so then maybe we can let go of some of our responsibilities. Maybe we're going to learn to let go of the control, especially if we do have control problems in our life. Again, depending upon what you have going on in your own personal chart. So I really wanted to cover that. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to cover also with all of this. Um, by inauguration of January 21st, we got all of this stuff going on. In fact, let me just kind of move there because I think it's really significant because, Joni Betrie and Sam Geppy, David Palmer, even from the Leo King, has been mentioning this. And I just kind of wanted to cover let me see, let's go to months. There we go. All right, there we go. January 19th, that's close enough. So I just kind of wanted to cover some of the aspects that's happening on January 21st. I know we got so many people upset all around the world, not just in America, but people were upset all around the world about how the election's gone. So one of the things I wanted to mention that Pluto will be 0 degrees in Capricorn. We've got Jupiter's at 12 degrees, Saturn's 9 degrees, Sun is 5 degrees, Mercury's 23 degrees. All of this is in the sign of Capricorn. So we know we're having a drug just from there, just from that alone. This is a huge transformation. This is going to be something that we've never seen before, especially with Pluto being in there. That is going to be a change in our government infrastructure. We've got Venus at 19 degrees in Sagittarius. And really, this is going to be dealing with a lot about female power. And I wouldn't be surprised if more things come out in regards to sexual abuse, assault. That's going to come out because the energies are just so ripe for this. With Venus being in Sagittarius, it really does. It deals with sex trafficking. It can deal with prostitution, as well as beautiful, models and stuff. But I'm kind of reading the whole chart, the energies of it, and how everything is playing out. So I really think some corruption with females or about females are going to be coming out around that day. Also, what's really interesting, and this is something that I know a lot of people from Vedic astrology don't use, but we've got Neptune in exact conjunct with it's a little hook. It actually looks like Saturn's. It's called Ceres. And I hope I pronounced that right, but it's a fixed star, Ceres, and it's coming into exact conjunct with Neptune. In the sign of Aquarius. And Ceres has a very Saturn type of feel to it. And the symbol looks like a scathe, if you will. And what that means is coming to the end, harvest time. But it is ending. It has, again, a very much of a Saturn connotation with it. And I have to say that means, Neptune, delusion, lies, media, something's coming to an end. There is going to be some type of ending and change, and it's going to be all over media, and it's going to be dealing with lies and deceit. And, it's in that nakshatra that is all about the healers, the doctors, it's the circle. Cosmic, 100 healers, excuse me. But really what this has to do, it'll bring about great healing for things that America and globally, let's be honest, we have known for how long all of the lies again and again that the media has been putting out worldwide and the government. We don't really know what's going on with the government. If you do, you're delusional. You don't know what's going on. You can only speculate. Nobody really knows what's going on. And that's the type of infrastructure that's going to happen, the great change, if you will. And we got Moon in Pisces, and we got Mars exactly conjunct Uranus on that day. So it's going to be something dramatic just with the placements of the transits. It's going to be remarkable. We got too many exact conjunctions and too much pileups of conjunctions with planets, with the outer planets that are happening on that day. So I think it's going to throw everybody for a loop. I think it's going to be very, very, very shocking. And I don't think I'm definitely not going to predict. I don't think anybody's really going to be able to predict what's going to happen. So that's why, one of the reasons why I tell people, don't be stressing about who won the president or who didn't. I've told everybody this many times. It doesn't matter, because something really big is going to happen. The transits are there for it. The energies are there. Do I know exactly what it is? No, but you guys, don't stress about who became president at this point. Something huge is coming down the pipeline, okay? So I think that's going to be it. So I do for today. So I have a couple of announcements. This is going to be my last Saturday transit. And the reason why is I need to be able to have the time to put together content for my website and for my programs. So if I'm live all the time, it really does take away that time that I could be creating that content for you guys. Number two, I'm live on Tuesdays, and that one's in regards to domestic violence and the Lifehouse Project. Don't forget, I've opened up my Lifehouse Project. Number number one. Number two, Wednesday, I'm live for Mercury Wednesdays. Okay, so I'll be covering some of the transits and the hot topics on Wednesdays, and I'm hoping that I do have a friend that's going to be joining me on that. Also, don't forget that I'm live Thursday, X-Pact Radio. Come and join us there, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Oh, and don't forget also, I'm live on Fridays for Venus Friday with a little bit of wine. So, again, I'll be covering Venus, but also the hot topics and transits and how our week is going there. And hopefully, again, Swami will be joining us, a friend of mine. But I'm live, I'm online all the time. So, I need a little bit of time to really be able to gather up content and create really of high quality for you guys. So I'm using these energies to come out with a better product, better service, and higher quality for everybody. So this is going to again be my last Saturday transit. You guys have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Thank you.